lower income bracket to review your budget because they are accustomed to getting by on with smaller budgets. They can most likely help you in cutting your budget. Once you reach this balance, you can start cutting your debt and begin to make money moves like consolidating and eliminating your debt. Important point. When you are successful in reducing costs and you decide to consolidate your debt, just keep one credit card for emergencies, because the worst thing you can do is to add to your debt after consolidation. That is the worst thing that you can do, right? Get rid of the debt, put it into a lump, then you go out and run up more credit card debt. Don't consolidate. Just stay what you are until you get your mind right, because that is the worst thing that you can do, right? If you use a credit card, pay it off at the end of each month or after a few months if you're trying to improve your credit score. The benefit is that you will regain control of your financial destiny. Your mind will be clearer and able to function much better. Let me tell you something. Learn to get your mind in focus. And if you can't afford it, don't spend it. If you're using credit to rebuild your credit score, pay it off, make a couple payments, then pay it off. Don't carry a balance on the credit card. Because most times when you get I remember when I was going through that, I had kids, you need money, doing a credit card thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, if I can't afford it, I don't need it, we'll do without it. You get that credit card, you got a balance, you have an urge to spend up to the credit limit. And then once that credit limit is reached, the urge to spend is gone. So it's psychological. It's psychological. Money does not like desperate people who don't respect it. Just like in any relationship. You think you can buy a relationship, get a guy who think he can buy a female in a relationship by buying her things and vice versa. It doesn't work. It just does not work. Money is earned by people who know how to respect it and patient enough to learn how it works. The reason we get out of debt is to create cash flow income in order to invest in working capital. Positive cash flow. This takes the place of getting a loan. First time people out of their mouth, I need to get a loan. I want to start a business. I want to get a loan. Wrong objective. You end up in debt. How many people took out a student loan and they took the money and went to buy them, put a down payment on the car, and they never finished the course? And now you have this student loan that's chasing you, and you can't even enroll back in school until you pay that money back. A job is like getting a loan. Let me explain. In order to get a job, that's why it's important to have a skill or a trade, so that way you can finance your beginnings, and then to a point where you can leverage yourself to another level. We'll talk about that in a minute, a little bit. In order to get a job, you must have the skills needed by your potential employer, which will benefit his or her business in exchange for money. Right? You get a job, they want to look at your background, they want to see a resume, they want to see whether you are fit for that business before they give you that paycheck every week. Right? Sometimes you will not only need the skills, but an education, experience as well, and most importantly, they will need your time every day. So when you get a job, not only do they look at your background, your education, your experience, but you got to be there every day. They want your time. Right? The time spent working, making them money, is the interest on the weekly paycheck. So it's the interest. Taking out a loan is the same thing with a twist. You need assets, collateral, and experience. Sometimes versus an education. Sometimes you need the experience comes with the education, and you pay interest on the money they give you instead of your time. The trade-off in your job versus a loan is your time being spent working for others versus the interest you pay on the loan, where your time is your own. Hopefully you got that. Like I said, in the course, we'll go through it in more detail. Rule number 3, and sometimes it just take a while to sink in. These concepts is not going to be automatic. A lot of these are new concepts, so it takes time for it to sink in. And these concepts are going to, what we cover, they're going to be built upon. They're going to be built upon. Just like in math, the math, it builds upon each other. So you need the definitions of the earlier chapters because they're going to be built upon the later chapters. Rule number 3, the gambler's market was a name before it was called the stock market. And just like the lottery, It is for gamblers. Risk tolerance is the term used for risky behavior when relying on others to do for you what you should be doing for yourself. So when people tell you to invest in the stock market, you're gambling. It's a gamble. They're asking you to gamble, right? You are paying, and maybe they don't even know what it is, but it's gambling because it's risky, because you might lose everything. You are paying someone who is licensed to steal from you, and in both cases hoping they will share with you any proceeds of the gamble. This is why fund managers make so much money. They even have a regulatory body called the Securities and Exchange Commission, which regulates how the Ponzi scheme is being played. The theft is not only in the filing of financial statements by companies, but in the hidden fee structures if you become an investor. They make money when the market goes up and when it comes down. They have no risk. You know what I'm saying? They have no risk, and it's not their money. This is called churning your account, because every buy and sell transaction, they are getting paid. You know, they'll call you and say, hey, I got a great deal for you. I think you need to move your money into this area. No matter any movement that you make, they charge you for it. I'm proposing a more profitable, non-risky approach. Very basic, common sense, mathematical equations, which you will learn more about as you progress through the curriculum and after you graduate from the Rite of Passage program. So the 18-month we talked about before, I'm going to break it down, the income opportunity for you. I'm breaking it down to the 10 to 12-week period after you finish the Rite of Passage program. And that's when this opportunity will be made to you to just keep you hungry and keep you energetically moving forward. Give you a sense of completion. A reward for the highly motivated. Instead of having you wait the entire 18 months, let me ask you, why is there a stock market? It is used to raise investment capital for companies that have proven themselves to be sound and reliable with a history of earnings, in order to fund the emergence of new industries and sustain their operations. However, you will be relying on others to make money for you, which means you are taking a risk that all your money can be lost if the investment performs poorly. In this program, it's like the stock market, but we're going to use education, personal growth and development as the mechanism to use to transfer wealth to yourself. All right? I will introduce to you my program called MEES, Main Street Emergency Economic Stimulus Program, where you can get rates of return of over 3,000% and beyond based upon the affiliate plan you choose and your own energy, effort, and enthusiasm you put into the program. It's all up to you. After completing the first 12 weeks of the program, in order to make sure you are committed to the system of change, I have accelerated this program instead of having you wait 18 months. But you will still have to graduate from the program in order to stay eligible to receive affiliate commissions up to 30% per transaction. And you do the numbers, it will be substantial. This is a win-win because you can obtain a valuable education and you can earn substantial income by helping others. I'm doing all the work for you. You don't even need a license or anything like that, just by being a member, just by helping other people. And if you are an insurance salesman, the commissions the affiliate commissions will be far greater than you can earn out there selling insurance and all those different things for income. You have to study to get a license. Of course, you have to study here, but you're going to get a broad education on how wealth is created, accumulated, and preserved. You can earn money by educating yourself and then others. You are getting paid a percentage of sales if you so choose to share after you educate yourself about money and how it works, all depending on the affiliate program you choose, as mentioned before. In 1864, after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, black wealth stood at 2%. In just 30 years, in 2050, black wealth is projected to be at 0%. This means that any wealth which was left to black America by their parents has been lost because succeeding generations did not understand money and how to hold on to and build upon what was left to them. Instead, they squandered it. In other words, they sold the golden goose that laid the golden eggs. It is also like having to probate your parents' estate because they failed to create an estate plan and ended up in probate court where the entire estate must be liquidated and sold in order for it to get out of probate. Rule number 4, credit repair, credit score, wealth score, debt to equity ratio. This is a measurement of how well you manage your debt, which is good if you are a business owner and need cash injections at times to run your business and or use it to leverage future growth. However, when people spend money, they spend it on items they can't afford and or don't need. Unless you pay off each credit card balance at the end of each month, you are mortgaging your financial future, becoming an indentured servant / slave. Your score goes up when you make these debt payments on time. If you don't have revolving debt, your credit score suffers. What a cruel concept of exploitation against the greedy and the foolish. This is the most insidious deception of all times, other than the lottery and the gambler's market. We live in a consumer-driven debt economy, which requires you to spend every dime you have in order for the economy to prosper. This is a predatory economic system which operates to keep you in debt and under subjection. This government makes sure everyone is in debt, which is the slave trap. It destroys its citizens with oppressive government policies, which destroys future lives. This behavior is not a sustainable economic formula because the government's mismanagement and destructive incompetence will eventually implode, then explode. It will be sucked in, everything sucked in, all of a sudden it's going to blow up, taking all of us with them. This is because the Fed floods our economy with fiat cash to keep it afloat with worthless currency. That's what fiat means, worthless currency, instead of managing the country where all its citizens are innovators and producers of goods and services in order to balance the budget headed toward a surplus. It's just a matter of time before this sleight of hand Ponzi scheme will catch up with the American economy in a serious way. This trickery is what credit repair represents in order for you to get a good credit score. It's just a sleight of hands. 0% interest on savings. This is a fact. If you put lipstick on a pig, it is still a pig. You still have to pay the bill. You're just a highly motivated debtor who makes sure that credit card bills are paid on time until you can't. That's why we have to stop dealing in lies, fictions, and distractions and start focusing on real issues like getting out of debt as individuals and as a nation. How do we create tangible results that you can touch and feel and not delusions of future grandeur which can never manifest itself under this scenario? Even with the free labor produced by the prison industrial complex and the riches made off stocks held by police, judges, and politicians, the country is still in debt from over-consuming, even when it invades other countries and steals their resources, which goes to the 1% and not to balance the government's budget. Everything our government tells us is based upon a lie. So how do we find real truth? Back to credit repair. First of all, you're engaging in self-deception. Hiring a credit repair company to remove bad credit by sending letters to creditors where they are forced by law to remove the credit history for 60 days or so, then you will quickly go through with a financial transaction before it reappears on your credit history. And I want to buy that house, but I got some bad credit on there, so let me hire a credit repair agency so they can take those bad marks off so I can run in there and finance the deal and close before those things pop up again. An intentional loophole in the law intended to deceive the foolish and greedy into accruing even more debt. You are just delaying the inevitable. This type of behavior started the housing crisis. This is just a smaller scale personal housing crisis that you wouldn't be engaging in, which is the same type of conduct which led to the economic crisis, manifesting the illusion of wealth you cannot sustain. The best credit repair is just paying off the debt by earning more income and stop spending above what you can't afford. African Americans talk about reparations, but 98% of the money they make now is spent outside of their communities on goods and services. Reparations, in order to be perceived successful, based upon outward appearances, just faking it. That's why they say the biggest joke is that you give them reparations on Friday, and then on Monday it'll be all gone. Everybody got a new Cadillac, cars faking it. Then all of a sudden they can't even pay when a screw fall out of the license plate. The fact remains that any reparations in monetary form will be given right back unless structural changes were made in their minds and the institutions that oppress. the ability